I'm here in Ilford. It's in a part of East London where many say there's huge political change going on. I'm here to find out what they're trying to change, what they're all about. I'm here to meet the Redbridge and Ilford Independents.
And when the Mayfield by-election, it was a snap by-election, and actually we had about 3-4 weeks to organise and get out there and campaign really hard. As you know, Mayfield was held for about 10 years by the current MP, Mr. Jazz Atwal MP, and Redbridge is a Labour stronghold, so we faced many challenges actually, and some of our volunteers were fasting during the campaign, so that was an added difficulty. Again, you know, Redbridge Independents, we're highly organised. I had the logistical support and the campaigning and the volunteers, and we had so many new faces joining us on the campaign trail, knocking on those doors. You know, we literally were out from morning till dusk, talking to residents, and what really came across was that residents were ready for a different choice. They were looking for a credible alternative, and some of the stories were really sad. I spoke to a gentleman at the door, and he told me about his neighbour who died because he didn't have enough money to heat his property. He had pneumonia. You know, we had other young people saying that they needed opportunities, that they were looking for jobs. You know, and the cost of living crisis is raging, housing shortage, people not being able to pay their council tax, which has gone up. Lots of local issues to do with crime and antisocial behaviour. So yes, it was a really frantic campaign, lots of people getting together. It's a real community effort, and we got over the line.
Mayfield was a port in Marwan to what many believe will be a very difficult local election in 2026 for Labour. Keir Starmer, we know, is struggling. I mean, Rehan mentioned the welfare bill, which passed, but it was completely gutted. Do you believe that the independents, the Redbridge Independents, are set up to make a significant impact? What's your aims? What are you hoping for?
It's to get as many seats as we possibly can. That's the aim. We want to change the council. We want to put an end to, as Wasim said, this cliquey way about doing things, this covering things up. Like when we take Jas Athwell, for example, right? He's been accused of being a rogue landlord. There's evidence against him. He himself has said, oh, I'm going to pay the bill. I'm going to pay rent for whatever, a year or whatever. Why is he not being investigated? Okay. Or if he has been investigated, why is there not an outcome? Okay. There's a Mayor of London website that lists rogue landlords, yet he's not there. Why? So there's all these little things where the council hasn't spoken about, they're not willing to deal with. And what we need is a change in the council. We've had issues recently with SEND provision, special educational needs and disabled. We've had a really damning Ofsted report. The council, they should be speaking about it. They should be saying, you know what, this is not right what's happened. We hold our hands up here. This is what we're going to do. But they're not. Try and cover it up. Just stay quiet about it. No one will know about it. So it's these sort of games that the council are doing. We are aware running a council is not easy. They will make mistakes, but when you make a mistake, hold your hand up and say to the world, look, we've done this wrong. We're going to fix it by doing this. We apologize, but there's none of that. It's always showboating. Oh, we're amazing here. We're amazing here. We're amazing there. Hold your hands up when you've done something wrong, and no favors for your friends. Jas Athwell, I really want to know, has he been investigated? He himself should say, oh, I've been investigated, I've been fined, or they've investigated, but they're not fined. We're hearing nothing because they don't want to talk about it. So we need a change. We need two things. One, we would like to get as many seats as possible. And also we would like Labour to start serving their constituents. They're still going to be there, unfortunately, for another year. We would like them to step up, start doing the right thing for the next year, and then hopefully hand the baton over to us if we can, and we could take over and hopefully run it the way it should be run.
Nurjan, when you speak to residents, do you feel there's an appetite for change? Are people genuinely fed up, minus 45% for Labour suggests that they are. But when you speak to residents, are they fed up because of national politics or because of local politics? For example, as has been mentioned here, the Jazz Atwell scandal and other local issues. What is it that's making them feel this way?
I've had a really good opportunity twice, actually, in the general election and also in the by-election to speak to local residents. And you have to understand where this apathy and distrust with politics and politicians comes from. We've had 14 years of Tory austerity. We've had another kind of austerity. Labour promised change, but all they've been doing is cutting services. We've had Labour running this council for 10 plus years. And what have we had? Council tax going up. We've got services that are very poor and not serving residents. On top of that, you've got a generation of people who are facing their own challenges, housing shortages, young people not having access to jobs and opportunities. You've got older people who are getting rationed care, some people not even getting any social care. We've got a housing crisis on our hands and an environmental issue. Within Ilford, the overdevelopment is really high. So a whole number, a plethora of issues that are contributing to people either switching off, the apathy, or just very angry and disaffected. And what I've seen and witnessed and talked to when I've been talking to people is that they want to see a change, a positive change. They want to see a new kind of politics, a people-powered politics, where the resident is at the centre, not your lobby groups, not nepotism and systems that don't serve them. People want solutions. They want to be part of the solution. And this council is not listening to residents. On top of that, you've had a genocide live streamed over the last 18 months, and people are hurting. They've voiced their concerns, and the people who should be listening are not listening. This council appears to have a culture of, there's a lack of transparency and openness and not listening to residents. So yes, they want to change.
Marwan, locally, what would you do? What's your policy platform? I mean, divestment is, again, it's still linked to Gaza. Some people watching this will say, all right, you want to make an impact on an international event, but what about us here locally? There will be people that will say, I support you on Gaza, fine.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do for me?
Okay, so first of all, we've spoken with residents. We see what their concerns are about. So, for example, crime is an issue. Residents don't feel safe in Redbridge. So we're going to have to look at it. Why do residents not feel safe? What's the relationship between the council and the police? Okay, are police being used in the correct way? So we're going to have to look at crime. We're going to look at cleanliness as well. You look at the streets, they're not as clean as what they should be. And that's something that we're going to have to look at. Housing is an issue. We've talked about overdevelopment. We've talked about how that's had an effect on resources, the health, education as well, special educational needs. It's been an absolute disaster. So there are all these issues that are locally. Residents are not happy, and we are there to serve them. So if I was going to just say one issue, it's not one issue. It's a collection of issues. Crime is certainly high up, and health is an issue as well. Education's an issue. So as Ryan said, I could go on and on and on, and we will have a clear policy platform that will be available that you'll be able to look up. But the main thing is we are there to serve our residents.
Vaseem, serving residents, then what about those who are very, want to be active, want to get involved? I mean, there are other independents in Redbridge, okay? And they're all trying to make their mark. What sets you out and as we are the challenge to Labour?
So I think one of the things is, look, I've worked with the group of people who came together randomly, really, you could say, of RCAG, and then eventually formed the Independent Party. And one thing that is really encouraging is that group has held together for all of this amount of time, and sometimes under a huge amount of pressure from outside, because we have this unity of purpose, we're sincere of our intentions, and we want to do right for the people of Redbridge. That's it. And that will remain consistent. And yeah, we have disagreements amongst ourselves, but in the end, we know the cause is much bigger than any of us as individuals, you know? I've always said this, and I've always said this to the group around me, that if somebody else comes along who can do a better job than me, then bismillah, that come and do it. Yeah. Because it's not about me. It's really about creating a legacy for the future. And I really believe that strongly and passionately. And, you know, ultimately the policy platform is one thing, the talent. And as Rehan said, we've probably done now, you know, been involved directly and run 2 general election campaigns, right? 3 or 4 local election campaigns, and that culminated in the victory in Mayfield. You know, they say that you learn much more from failure than you do from success. And we failed a few times, but we kept going. We kept going because we knew that there's a bigger cause than just us. And eventually we won, and we didn't just win. We beat Labour and Tories almost combined. We got more votes than them. And that was massively encouraging for us. And that gives us now a solid foundation for next year, 2026, and beyond future general elections. So I'm really encouraged by that. We've got a really strong team in all facets, you know, really strong data. We understand, you know, where to target and who to target in terms of residents and votes. So, you know, I really look forward to 2026 and beyond.
Nurjan, what about activists? You mentioned you had a lot of people enthused. How are your activists feeling? What do they, you know, what's their...
As I've said, over the last 18 months, RCAG and Redbridge Independents and the various campaigns and initiatives that we've led have attracted a whole range of people who've been involved in politics and people, the majority actually, who have never been involved. This is hugely exciting. I'm very keen on community organising, but what we're seeing is a whole range of residents who are motivated to stand up, to speak out, to be empowered to do more in civic life. Now,
Are you getting a lot of people knocking on your door or meeting you and saying, I want to get involved?
Well, I'll give you an example. I mean, I've had a couple of neighbours who've been very active in leafleting. They've never done anything like this in their life. They're older people, they're grandmas, and they're really galvanised. They're excited to be part of a community initiative. We've got young people who are coming forward, who are school leavers and just left university. In fact, yesterday I was contacted by a young woman who'd actually seen our campaign and she wanted to volunteer. So all of that is amazing. I think what we have regular volunteer events and public meetings. We encourage residents to go along and ask questions of the council and cabinet meetings. There are a range of different topics that we're doing campaigning on. So overdevelopment, NHS, so people can get involved. I think it's really important as a community group and a political organisation that we create opportunities for people from all different backgrounds and skills groups, and those with no skills, you know, who've never been involved, to actually do something for their community. And at a time when there's post-COVID, there's a lot of isolation, there's a lot of apathy. Yeah. I think this is an amazing opportunity for people to get to know their neighbours. I'm going to end with this. We have this one volunteer, I won't say his name, but he said to me, look, I used to go to work and come home and see my children. Now I know everybody in my community. You know, I go out and I canvass and I've got good friends and, you know, I'm doing something to change for good in my community. So I'm really hopeful. I'm very excited, not just for Redbridge, but nationally. I think 2026 is going to be an amazing opportunity for people to stand up and use their vote and find an alternative. One of the things that I'm really rewarded by, you know, this whole effort with RCAD and Redbridge Independents has taken a lot of time and effort on all of our parts. We're all working people. Yeah. You know, every evening, every weekend, there are meetings and demos and all sorts of organizational things. But I think what I'm hopeful about is how, as Rehan mentioned, we're interconnected. You know, the reality is that the policies that we are hoping to engender, whether it's the cost of living, whether it's immigration, recruitment, social care, you know, we're connected in terms of the whole world. You know, we want to see a change in Gaza. We want to see the end to the genocide, but we also want to see a change in leadership here locally and nationally. We're working on the premise Keir Starmer, what is he standing for? You know, he said that it was okay to switch off water and food and medicines for a whole group of people. We are working to improve the lives of people locally and internationally.
What sort of candidates are you looking for? I mean, who's going to stand in terms of, you know, what do you want?
Just really quickly before that,
Yeah.
I just want to say that, you know, a lot of us, we have families, we're working full time, and for my wife and my kids, you know, it's taken a lot out of us as a family to help and support the community. And I know there's that it's not just me, it's everyone. So I just want to say that, yeah, just want to put that out there. Thank you, and I think you should do.
I shudder to think what your wives and families and husbands and, you know, partners, whatever, are thinking. You know, these people were you were all sane before a year and a half ago, but now things have changed. But go on, tell us about what sort of person you would ideally like to stand on your platform, you know, as Redbridge
I
Independents.
think it needs to be somebody who's connected with the community. There's a lot of people who are activists, but they've never really thought about getting involved directly and being the decision maker. And we've seen that a lot. There's lots of little groups in Redbridge who have a particular cause, whether it's the field in Barkingside that's going to be turned into a massive block of flats, or various other communities, community groups. There's a lot that can be done by going from an activist to being the decision maker.
Okay, so one of the things that you all mentioned, or I think it's the right question for you then, Moran, because they were all Labour Party members and they made the move. What about those Labour Party members who would agree with you? Because we know there are still lots of Labour Party members who don't support the government's positioning on Israel, Palestine, etc. What do you say to them? And secondly, more importantly, what about those councillors who are still in Labour or MPs? And I'll come on to that much more, but let's just focus on councillors, I suppose, because you're doing local. What's your message to them? What are you saying to them?
They know who we are. We're all well known locally. They can come and ask us. They can come to speak with us. What I would say is, if their intentions are genuine, okay, I would be happy personally. I'm not speaking on behalf of party. I would be happy personally if someone's intentions are genuine to join us. But what I would say is, if they want to join us as a career move, then not really interested. Now, I personally think they should have all left Labour. I don't think the Labour Party is the party that serves the community, and I think they should have learned. But they should have left. However, I do understand that leaving a party you're already in isn't easy.
Friends, don't you?
Yeah, and it's not straightforward, and they're probably there thinking, oh, I'm serving. But you've got to reach a point where
So you want to make change from internally. They say, we will make the change from inside.
I understand that, but they have to look and see, is change actually happening?
Or some would say, if we leave, then you'll get somebody even worse than us in our position.
But look at what's happened, okay? That mentality has got us to where we are. That mentality has got us to a government that is actively participating in a genocide. I'm not even saying complicit, they're actively participating. It's got us into a position where the council is not actually dealing with the issues that it's meant to be. They're all having to be silent. So I say to them, Labour Council members, that if you are genuine, you want change, you want what's right for Redbridge, you know who we are, pick up the phone, chat to us.
Britain and France recognising Palestine, would that be a big thing?
Very small step. Positive, but a baby step. Okay, we need a lot more than that. First, we need to stop sending arms to Israel. That's more important than this recognition. Less symbols, more action. That's what I would say. On a national level, we need to stop picking on the most vulnerable. Okay, we need to look after them. We need to stop looking at, right, where we're going to save money. Let's look at disabled. Let's look at this. Let's looking at those at the very high end first, if we can save money there. Next thing is NHS. Okay, we need to have that managed properly. We need to stop lobby groups, okay, influencing politicians. And I'm not just talking about West Streeting, I'm talking about all politicians across parties, Conservative, Labour. We need to end that relationship between lobby groups and politicians. And I want to see a parliament where they are accountable to the people. I want to see a council that's accountable to people. And for me personally, I want to serve and do good. That's what I want to do.
Okay. And Vaseem, a slight twist on that question. It's still relevant to you. But what's your message as well to those that are watching?
Yeah, look, I'd say please come and join us. If you believe in social justice, if you believe in bettering the lives of the people in Redbridge and beyond, if you believe in humanitarianism, in global justice as well, for me, the ceasefire is a very, very small step. Recognition of Palestine is a very, very small step. If we're going to have true justice, the way apartheid ended in South Africa, there needs to be a proper Palestinian state, which was taken from the Palestinians in 1947. There needs to be
They want state, equal rights.
Yes, exactly. And there needs, obviously I can't make that decision on behalf of the Palestinians. That's how I would see it. And that's how Palestine always was historically, right? Muslims, Jews, Christians lived together in harmony for hundreds and hundreds of years until the Zionists came along, right? And that's what I want to see, a return to true justice and a true Palestinian state. And locally, what my colleagues here have said is, how can we work really hard to improve the lives of residents, whether it's education, whether it's NHS, whether it's crime. Redbridge, unfortunately, always ends up in the top table when it comes to crime, top 10, I think, in a recent survey. And that's just not good enough. And we know we have the resources to do better. Instead of doing pet projects like the Lido and things like this, we should really focus our money and our efforts towards things that are going to have an impact on the maximum number of residents. And there's lots of people out there, amazing people across the borough. And I would just say to them, please come and join our cause. You'll see that we can make a huge difference in Redbridge.
Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for doing this interview. Really appreciate that. You've been very patient. We've had quite a long stint in this gorgeous sunshine coming down. Okay, well, on that note, all the best, and hopefully we'll have you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here in Ilford. It's in a part of East London where many say there's huge political change going on. I'm here to find out what they're trying to change, what they're all about. I'm here to meet the Redbridge and Ilford Independents.